All right, let's be honest with each other. It's January, it's cold, and your fishing has probably been tough. So let me ask you a question. Are you ignoring the one fish that is almost guaranteed to be biting right now simply because your ego won't let you target it? Today, we're not talking about some secret, hard-to-find species. We're talking about the fish you probably dismiss as too easy. And I'm going to show you why that mindset is the very reason you're going home empty-handed. Stick around, because we're about to expose the biggest mistake anglers make in the dead of winter. And trust me, the answer is hiding in plain sight. So tell me, is any fish truly too easy when nothing else is biting? Let's get into it. For years, the story has been the same for midwinter fishing. We bundle up in a dozen layers, drill holes through 2 feet of ice, and stare at a fish finder waiting for that one massive mark to appear. We're programmed to think that winter is for giants, for lethargic, heavyweight walleye, pike, or lake trout. The fishing magazines and TV shows all celebrate the hero shots with monster fish caught in miserable conditions. This creates a culture, an unwritten rule, that if you're not targeting the apex predators, you're not really serious about fishing. This trophy or nothing attitude is deeply ingrained in us. It makes us see smaller, more common fish as a nuisance, a pest that gets in the way of our real target. But this way of thinking is a trap. It's a recipe for frustration and for forgetting why we go fishing in the first place, to catch fish. Let's start by setting the scene. It's a familiar one for any winter angler. The sun is low, the wind has a bite that cuts right through your best gear, and the silence on the lake is deafening. You've been out here for 3 hours. You've tried 5 different spots on the underwater point that always produces in the fall. You've cycled through every expensive jigging wrap and slab spoon in your tackle box. Your coffee is cold, and your optimism is fading with the light. Every minute that ticks by, the thought of packing it in gets a little bit louder. This is the January rut. It's the point in the season where the early ice frenzy is a distant memory and the fish have settled into a deep, cold water funk. It's this exact scenario, this feeling of hopelessness, that makes what we're about to discuss so incredibly important. This is where most people give up. Now let's talk about what's going on in your head during this slow day. You're thinking about that 30-inch walleye you caught here last year. You're thinking about the bragging rights, the picture you'll post online. This is the ego trap, and we all fall into it. We become so fixated on a specific outcome, on a specific size of fish, that we blind ourselves to all other possibilities. We tell ourselves that spending 8 hours in the freezing cold is only worth it for a trophy. Anything less feels like a failure. This mentality forces us to use heavy gear, big lures, and aggressive tactics because that's what you do for big fish. But the lake is telling you a different story. The electronics are blank, the rod tip is still. The lake is telling you that the giants aren't playing today. And the ego trap is that voice in your head that refuses to listen. So, who is the hero of this story? Who is this fish we so often snub? It's the humble, unassuming, and incredibly resilient yellow perch. For many, the perch is the first fish they ever caught. It's seen as a kid's fish, a beginner's fish, or worse, a bait-stealing pest. When we're jigging for walleye and a small perch gets on the line, we often let out a sigh of annoyance. We quickly unhook it and drop our lure back down, hoping its bigger, more prestigious cousin is nearby. We've been conditioned to see them as a stepping stone to better fish, not as a worthy target in their own right. But in the dead of winter, this so-called beginner's fish is one of the most active and predictable predators under the ice. While other species are conserving energy, the perch are often still on the move, and more importantly, they are still willing to eat. Let's break down that toxic word, easy. When an angler calls a fish easy, what do they really mean? They often imply the fish is dumb or that it requires no skill to catch. This could not be further from the truth. A perch isn't easy because it's stupid. It's easy because it's a highly successful and adaptable species. Perch are opportunistic feeders. They have to be. They exist in huge schools and there's a lot of competition for food, and this means they are more likely to investigate a potential meal than a solitary, cautious predator like a big walleye, which might only feed for a short window each day. So, when we say they are easy, what we should be saying is that they are willing participants. They offer you a chance to engage, a chance to learn, and a chance to actually get a bite when everything else is ignoring you. It's not a lack of challenge, it's an abundance of opportunity. Picture this specific moment because it happens all the time. You're staring intently at your flasher, jigging a heavy 1-ounce spoon, hoping to call in a massive lake trout from the deep. Suddenly you feel it. It's not a thump, it's not a slam. It's a tiny, almost imperceptible tick on your line. Your big, stiff rod barely even registers it. Your first thought? Ugh, dinks. You imagine a tiny 3-inch perch pecking at the treble hook. You ignore it. You might even aggressively rip the spoon to shake it off. That little tick was the first clue the lake gave you all day. It was a message. It said, "Hey, we're down here. We're active. You're just using the wrong language." But in our trophy-obsessed mindset, we dismiss this clue as an annoyance instead of recognizing it for what it is, the most important piece of information we've received in hours. That brings us to the arrogance of the big lure. Sticking with that oversized spoon or that giant tube jig after getting those little taps is a critical, ego-driven mistake. It's the fishing equivalent of trying to unlock a door by kicking it down when the key is sitting right in your pocket. You are fundamentally using the wrong tool for the job that is actually available to you. The fish are telling you they're interested, but they are also telling you that your offering is too big, too intimidating, or just plain wrong. A school of 9-inch perch isn't going to try and inhale a 4-inch rattlebait. By refusing to change your lure, you're essentially telling the fish, "I don't care what you want, I only care about what I want to catch." And on a tough January day, that attitude will get you absolutely nowhere. It's a stubbornness that leads directly to a skunk. So, what's the solution? It's an act of humility. It's the humble downsize. This is the moment you decide to stop fighting the lake and start working with it. You put away the heavy-action walleye rod. You reach for that ultralight ice rod that's been collecting dust in the corner of your sled. You snip off the heavy fluorocarbon leader and tie on a fresh piece of 2 or 4 pound test line. And at the end of that line, you tie on something tiny. A little tungsten jig the size of a pinhead, tipped with a single maggot or a wax worm. This isn't an act of surrender. It's not you giving up on catching a good fish. It's an act of intelligent adaptation. You are finally deciding to speak the language the fish are speaking on that particular day. You're meeting them on their terms, and that is the hallmark of a truly skilled angler. The moment you downsize your gear, you have to start reading your electronics differently too. When you were in trophy mode, you were looking for big, bright red lines on the flasher, the unmistakable mark of a large fish. You were probably ignoring all the faint, flickering lines near the bottom. You might have dismissed them as weed growth, bottom interference, or a cloud of baitfish too small to matter. But now, with your perch-colored glasses on, you see them for what they are. That's the school, that's the life you've been searching for all day. You realize your fish finder wasn't empty. You were just filtering the information it was giving you through a biased lens. By focusing on those faint marks, you can now pinpoint the exact location of the fish that are actually willing to bite. You're no longer hunting for ghosts. This often requires a physical move, a location shift. The jumbo perch you want to catch aren't always holding on the same classic structures as walleye. While walleye might prefer a sharp drop-off with a hard bottom, big perch are often found in completely different areas. Think about large, soft-bottomed basins or flats. These areas might look boring and featureless on a contour map, but they are often rich with insect life like bloodworms and other invertebrates, which are a primary food source for perch. Or they might be holding on the edge of a dying green weed bed, picking off tiny crustaceans. To find them, you have to abandon the classic spots and start thinking like a perch. Drill holes in areas you'd normally ignore. Use your electronics to search for those clouds of marks in the boring parts of the lake. This is exploration, and it's exciting. And then, it happens. The moment of truth. You drop your tiny tungsten jig down the hole and watch it descend on the flasher. It enters that cloud of faint lines you identified. You give it just one or two subtle twitches, and bam, the spring bobber on your ultralight rod curls down with authority. You lift and you feel the satisfying throb of a fish on the line. It's not the dead weight of a log, it's a real, living thing fighting back. Your light rod is bent over and the fight is surprisingly intense. You bring it up through the hole and there it is, a beautiful 9-inch yellow perch with brilliant colors. It's not a monster, but it's a fish. It's a real, solid catch that broke the crushing silence of the day. That one fish is more satisfying than hours of catching nothing. The best part about that first catch, it's almost never the last. Perch are a schooling fish, and that's a massive understatement. Where you find one, you have often found hundreds, sometimes thousands. That first fish is the key that unlocks the door to a completely different kind of fishing day. Suddenly, the slow, methodical jigging is replaced by frantic action. You're dropping your jig down, it gets hit, you reel one up, unhook it, and drop back down to get hit again, sometimes before it even reaches the bottom. This is the chain reaction. The stillness is gone, replaced by the thrill of a wide-open bite. You can catch 20, 30, even 50 fish in an hour. This isn't just fun, it's data. Every fish you catch is telling you more and more about what they want. Think of this fast bite as the ultimate winter behavior lesson. Because perch are so willing to give you feedback, you can learn more about lure presentation in 1 hour of perch fishing than you can in a week of chasing finicky walleye. Is the bite slowing down? Change the color of your jig. Did that work? No? Okay, try a different cadence. Instead of 2 sharp jigs and a pause, try a slow, steady quiver. Oh, they liked that. Now you're getting bites again. This instant feedback loop is an incredible teaching tool. You're learning in real time how subtle changes in your presentation can trigger or discourage a bite from a cold water fish. These are advanced skills that will make you a better angler for all species, not just perch. This kind of fishing forces you to master the art of finesse. When you're using a heavy rod for pike, you can be sloppy with your technique. When you're using a hair-thin line and a tiny jig, every single movement matters. You learn to watch your line like a hawk for the slightest twitch that signals a bite. You learn to feel the difference between your jig hitting a piece of weed and a perch gently inhaling it. You become incredibly sensitive to what's happening at the other end of that line. Many anglers think power fishing for big fish is the pinnacle of skill, but I'd argue that the delicate touch and intense focus required for a hot, finesse bite is a much higher level and more difficult skill to perfect, and targeting perch is the best training ground on earth for it. Let's also take a moment to debunk the no-fight myth once and for all. Sure, a 6-inch perch isn't going to pull drag, but a 12 or 13-inch jumbo perch, a true giant of its species, hooked on an ultralight rod with 2-pound test line, is an absolutely spectacular battle. They bulldog and shake their heads the whole way up. The fight is always relative to the tackle you're using. Hooking a 10-pound base on heavy flipping gear can sometimes be less exciting than hooking a 1-pound perch on the appropriate light gear. It's all about matching the hatch, not just with your lure, but with your entire setup. If you think perch don't fight, I challenge you, try targeting them with the right gear. You will be pleasantly surprised. There's also a wonderful social aspect to this. Let's be honest. Taking a new angler or a child out to sit in the cold for 6 hours to not get a bite is the fastest way to make them hate fishing forever. But taking them out during a hot perch bite, that's a completely different world. The constant action, the excitement of seeing the bobber go down again and again, the simple joy of reeling in a fish, it's infectious. A fast perch bite is the single best way to introduce someone to the sport and guarantee they have a good time. It keeps them engaged and builds positive memories. It's about sharing the fun, not just enduring the cold in silence while you hunt for your one trophy. And we can't forget about one of the biggest rewards, the ultimate table fare. There is a very strong argument to be made that yellow perch are the best tasting freshwater fish in North America. Their fillets are firm, white, and sweet, with no fishy taste. A fish fry with a pile of fresh golden brown perch fillets is one of the great joys of being a fisherman. It's a tangible, delicious reward for your efforts. It connects you to your food and provides a healthy, wild-caught meal. When you're targeting perch, you're not just fishing for sport. You're often fishing for an incredible dinner. That adds a whole other layer of purpose and satisfaction to your day on the ice. Here's a more strategic way to think about it. View your perch fishing as a reconnaissance mission. What is the primary food source for big walleye, pike, and lake trout in most bodies of water? It's often perch. The old saying is true, big fish follow the food. If you can locate a massive, active school of perch, you have almost certainly found the buffet table for the very predators you were originally looking for. The bigger fish might not be actively feeding at that exact moment, but they are nearby. By finding the perch, you've solved the biggest piece of the puzzle. You can fish for the perch for a few hours, have a great time, and then switch back to your heavy gear and fish the edges of that school during the prime time morning and evening windows. You're using the easy fish to locate the hard ones. Never underestimate the power of the confidence game. Fishing is an intensely mental sport. A long string of tough, fishless days can get in your head. You start to doubt your spots, your gear, your own abilities. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Going out and having a 100-fish day, even if they're just perch, is a powerful antidote to that slump. It completely resets your mindset. It reminds you that you do, in fact, know how to catch fish. It rebuilds your confidence and gets you excited about fishing again. That positive momentum is incredibly valuable and will carry over to your next trip, making you a sharper, more optimistic, and ultimately more successful angler, no matter what species you're targeting. It's time we reframe how we think about this. Perch fishing shouldn't be the backup plan or the consolation prize for when you can't catch anything else. In the heart of January, it should be Plan A. You can and should build your entire day around targeting them. Go out with the specific intention of finding and catching perch. Bring the right gear, the right mindset, and the right strategy. Instead of hoping for 1 or 2 bites all day, your goal can be to get 100 bites, which sounds more fun to you. By making them the primary target, you all but guarantee yourself a day of action, learning, and enjoyment. You take control of your fishing success instead of leaving it to the whims of a few moody trophy fish. So, this all comes down to a final challenge to your ego. It's a simple question you have to ask yourself next time you're out on the ice and the bite is tough. Why are you really here? Are you here to have fun, to feel a tug on the line, and to connect with the outdoors? Or are you just here to get a photo for social media? Are you fishing to enjoy the process? Or are you fishing to impress other people? There is no wrong answer, but the perch will help you find the honest one, because if you're willing to put down the big rod and pick up the ultralight, you're choosing action over inaction, you're choosing fun over frustration, and you're choosing to be a smarter, more adaptable angler. And that's a trophy in itself. So there you have it. The big secret to saving your January fishing isn't a secret at all. It's the fish that's been right under your nose the whole time, the one we've been taught to look past. The biggest takeaway today is that the mindset shift from trophy hunting to action hunting is the most powerful tool in your tackle box. Realizing that targeting so-called easy perch is actually a high-skill finesse game can completely change your winter. It turns those slow, frustrating days into busy, exciting ones. It makes you a better angler, it provides a great meal, and most importantly, it makes fishing fun again. Thank you so much for watching. If this video made you rethink your winter strategy, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one common fish in your area that you think other anglers unfairly overlook?